My friends, sorry, I have to be, it has to be quiet. Thanks. Hello, everyone. So, today we're starting our life and we're going to talk about a very interesting subject concerning sexual life, right? Especially it's going to be for women. And we're going to talk with our sexologist, Anna, about women blogs in intimate life. We're going to talk about... See you tomorrow, bye. 11 o'clock. Yes. What time are you? Okay, we have to go, please. So actually, right now I'm in Bali, and we're moving around from one place to another, and we just actually literally arrived at a villa in the other town, and I'm in Bali because I organized here retreats, and now I'm just chilling. So I'm gonna put here. Wait just a second. So we're waiting for Anna to connect for our sexologist, our specialist, and we're going to start in a few seconds. So, hi. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you
In
too.
such a nice environment.
Yes, yes. I don't want to come back to Paris, to be honest. I'm just going to write a theme so everybody knows what we're doing here. What blocks. I'm going to write it down so everybody knows. We have in the intimate life. Okay. Second is sexologist. Okay. So, pin comment. Yeah, we're ready. Good. So, Anna, maybe I just wanna ask you to present yourself. So, just tell us about what you're doing and how did you become a sexologist?
Well, yeah, that's a private and a long story. I'm not sure I'm going to reveal it, but I mean, all my life I've been interested in psychology, and then it turned out that I'm interested in sexology as well because it's such an interesting and fascinating science. And the more I was growing up, and the more I was going out with men, trying to build relationship and discover my own sexuality, the more I decided to actually look into it. From the like scientific standpoint and to discover more what are the processes behind all our worries and like the body image and everything. So I've been working with women for the last 4 years. And I studied sexology and psychology in the Moscow Institute of Psychoanalysis. So for the last 4 years, I've been immersed into the world of psychology and sexology, and it's just fascinating.
Amazing. Thank you. I think, yes, this is a subject, sexology, that not a lot of people are talking now more and more.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to do this live, this webinar, it's because I think when I asked in stories about different blogs and women, and also how does women feel in their bodies, I understand now that more and more women, they don't feel good in their bodies. So that actually affects their sexual life. And also we have so many blogs from society. Like I had some girl who wrote me a message. She's from Uzbekistan. So she has a culture where it's just sex. It's not something for pleasure. It's something only to have kids. So I think in different cultures and like, so I grew up in Russia, and I think in our country also, we don't really talk about it. Never in school, never, our parents never talk about it. Only maybe like you have to protect yourself so you don't have kids too early. But I think it's like the maximum our parents give us. And unfortunately in Europe or in Russia, in our countries, actually there are no education. There are no sex education. That is very, I think, impacting women. So let's
Mm.
maybe discuss a little bit what kind of subject we're gonna what we're gonna talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you can tell us like the main subject we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, sure. I totally agree with you. And actually, it is so important. And I'm happy that today we can
Yeah,
spare an hour and talk about it because seriously, well, if psychology, we have lots of books and we still like discussing some points and some troubles when we meet with friends, etc. But sexuality, it's still some sort of a taboo and people don't really exchange that much. But it's
exactly.
they're missing a lot because we do need we live in a society and we do need to compare and sometimes to understand that what is happening in your life, it's actually normal because 10 other women, they're experiencing the same thing. So it is really important to talk about it in a couple, of course, and also between people. But of
Yes,
course, the environment should be safe because it's such an intimate and vulnerable subject. So it has to be a safe environment. So I'm always happy that when there is a conversation about sexuality or sex, I'm supporting, and I think it's really important to share, to ask questions, to explore, and and maybe to argue and just share the experience.
of
It's really
course.
golden. So I suggest, as we were discussing before, and we can play by ear, but I suggest we talk about the excitation system today to understand how our arousal is created and to understand more about our sexuality. I want to introduce the dual control model, so I'll talk about it later. Like this, you'll have the understanding of how it works and what should be improved in order for you to experience more pleasure and to open up and to open your sexual potential, so to speak.
And also,
So I would
I
like to
think we
talk about.
agree that like I had an idea to talk about also orgasm, right? Because
Absolutely,
there is
yeah.
a big myth about women
Hmm.
that sometimes people say like, okay, there are some kind of women who can have orgasm and some type of people that maybe cannot for their whole life. So I think it's important also to talk that you told about the system of excitement, about also
Yeah.
how do we work women, and that actually this is not a pattern. Like you will tell me more about it, but I'm sure that every woman can have a pleasure in sex, and it's just some instruments and also mental blocks that we can actually work on in our sexual life.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can start with that if you want. And an interesting thing you said that every woman can have a pleasure, and sometimes we confuse orgasm and pleasure. And I wanted to say that like today in the goal-oriented world that we're living in, we are so used to setting up goals and go getting them, no matter what it takes, right? So unfortunately, we're kind of doing the same thing with orgasm. It became a goal that we need to achieve. And if there is no orgasm, sex was not good, you know? So it became kind of like a goal, an obsession.
Yeah,
And by doing that, unfortunately, we're missing out on the pleasure and on the process, you know? And that's what sex is. It's process,
of
it's
course.
pleasure. It's so much more than just orgasm or penetration. It starts with a little text, with a little look in the eye, you know, and it can last very long time, you know. Everything is sex pretty much, and pleasure is the answer here. That should be the focus, that should be the goal, pleasure, not orgasm. And unfortunately, it creates lots of pressure when a woman starts to think like, oh, I don't orgasm, probably something is wrong with me, and all the anxious thoughts are starting in her head, and that's a distraction. That's actually takes away from pleasure, and that not letting her experience the pleasure. So just so to say, yeah, we're all different. We all have different biology, psychology, and emotional life, and we just have to understand, like the first step to good sex is a self-acceptance, the way you are, with orgasm or no orgasm, and it's not a switch on and off. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it's not. It's very elusive orgasm, and we shouldn't be running around and chasing it because when we do that, we're missing out on the pleasure, and that's the whole point of sex. So just wanted to start with that orgasm is not an ultimate goal. Pleasure should be an ultimate
Yes,
goal.
and I think many women, as you said, they put so much pressure on themselves about having an orgasm that then in the end they only think about that, so they cannot relax. And also I think they put maybe a pressure on their partner, because they might think that, okay, maybe something wrong with him, maybe we don't have connection, maybe like, because it's also difficult to talk about it, because a man feel like, okay, I cannot satisfy you because you don't have an orgasm. So I guess it also can create conflicts in couple.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And usually, yeah, you also need to remember that orgasm, it's yours. It's not somebody else's, right? And very often women, they actually trying to orgasm just to please the men, you know, because for men, yeah, it is, they think it's important to see the climax, to see like the result of his actions, right? But unfortunately, yeah, that can create guilt, that can create shame, and that just puts an extra pressure on the woman, thinking that every time she needs to orgasm, right, to satisfy her man. So he thinks that he's, you know, he feels good about himself and he's safe about the relationship. So just also ask yourself a question: why do you want to orgasm that much? You know, is it for someone or it's for yourself, for your own pleasure? And once again, pleasure doesn't mean orgasm. Orgasm, you know, it's just also it's important to keep that in mind, like why you want to orgasm. If it's some sort of expectation from someone, you know, and also not to forget, for men, usually it takes around like 5 to 10 minutes of like the active stimulation to climax. But for women, it takes so much longer.
Yeah.
Of course, it depends also on the physiology and on the body structure. But in general, it might take up to 30 minutes. And sometimes we just don't give ourselves enough time. And men also, they should understand it's how the woman is built, you know, how the body works, and all those factors, emotional, mental, and physical, they should all align in order for a climax to happen. And as I said, it's not like an on and off button. You shouldn't expect to orgasm every time, and it's totally normal. Because once again, it's not the point of sex to orgasm. So it's not a marathon, it's not a competition. So so yeah, that's it really varies. But just to get connected with your body, stay in the present moment, and just feel the sensations in your body.
And so you were talking about
Is
the excitation. Maybe we can come back a bit to the subject. So can you maybe explain to us what are the instrument of excitement, like, and of all of it?
Yeah, let's take a look. I wanted to tell you guys about the dual control model. And here I'm going to be referring a lot to a book of Emily Nagoski, Come As You Are. And I do recommend this book to every woman. Men can read it too. It explains in detail psychology and biology of sex and sexuality. So I'm going to be referring to this book a lot and using some of its terminology. So let's take a look at it. So it's a dual control model, was created in the 90s. And basically it says that according to this model, the level and the intensity of sexual arousal depends on the balance between sexual excitation and inhibition. Okay, so accelerating and slowing down. And this model, as pretty much everything in life and in our bodies, consists of two parts. You know, we're going to be talking about the central nervous system, our brain and spine, and two processes that are ruling our nervous system. It's the excitation and inhibition. So to speak, acceleration, you can think of it as a gas pedal in the car. So, and it's linked to the sympathetic nervous system. So this is a part of our nervous system which controls the internal organs when the body expends energy. So it's when, you know, when under, for example, under stress, like you run away or you hit, you punch into the face. It's this reaction with adrenaline which activates and mobilizes your body. So this is the gas pedal in our nervous system, and this is sympathetic nervous system, so acceleration. So this is one side. The other side, on the other hand, it's the slowing down. It's a parasympathetic nervous system. So this is our inhibition. So it's when we freeze, when we slow down, when we relax. when we restore the energy, when we accumulate the energy. And those two pairs, they always like on and off, basically, on and off, on and off. So that's how our nervous system function in a simple words. And as a metaphor, as I said, let's imagine gas pedal in the car and brakes in the car. All right. So according to this model, they suggest that the sexual arousal is also functioning according to the same system. Okay. And basically, it's the activation, you know, finding arousing factors and sexually positive stimulus, and that can be an attractive partner, or some music that you like, or like dim lights. It depends. So factors that would activate your desire. So founding those factors. And on the other hand, deactivation. So factors that would be stopping the desire, potential threats, or fear, or pain, you know, some sort of context that is not favorable for the excitement. So knowing that you have those two on and off switches inside, you can also see which one you need to address in order to make the car running. Because if you hit the gas pedal, the car will go off the cliff. It's dangerous, right? So you need some sort of inhibition to take care of yourself. If you hit only the brakes, you stay where you are, and you're going to be exhausting yourself because you're not moving anywhere and you're just eating yourself up. So it's a balance. So here's the formula of the arousal. It's basically the process of activating the reinforcing factors, reinforcing your excitation, and disabling the inhibitory, okay? Diminishing factors that are distracting or slowing down your excitation. Is that clear for you?
Yes, can
Or
you
maybe
maybe
you
give
have
us
some
an
question?
example? Maybe you can give us an example of what can, I don't know, how women maybe can explore the things that they actually can grab the expectation, and how can they maybe some tips, how can they also understand what actually stops them from having this level
Oh,
of.
absolutely. Absolutely. And that we're going to talk about it more in the sexual and not sexual contexts. That's a second layer of this model. So here, actually, I have an idea, as I was telling you, there is a test that helps to see what is your mechanism,
Okay.
if your gas pedal is strong or if your brake pedal is stronger. So there is a little simple test from the same book that I was telling you about, Come As You Are. And for those women who want, at the end of the webinar, maybe if they send us a message, I can send those tests,
Sure, we
and
can.
they can just do it at home as a little
Yes.
homework. Like this, they would know what configuration they're having, because there are 4 types of configuration depending on the, you see those two sides. And most of the problems, unfortunately, in the sexology and the work that I'm doing with clients, it's the strong brake system. It's a strong, very sensitive, hypersensitive brakes, meaning that it's very easy to distract yourself and to let go of the excitation and to slow down. And here it's a lot of anxiety, stress, and maybe some like health problems as well. So that should be also explored depending on each individual case. But to find out like what is your configuration, we can send out the test
Yeah.
later on. It's a set of simple questions. So it will be quite easy.
Oh
Like
yes,
this, they would
we
know.
can write me or Tuana a message, so we can send it, and like that you can
Yeah.
see how what kind of function in your body. I think also what I understood is that for me, for example, in this level, what helps me a lot is meditation, because I'm very high sensitive person. And I know that with work, especially when you're an entrepreneur, you have so many things in your heads. And for me, I take things very personally. So if something good happens, it's like wave of happiness, excitation, etc. But if it's something bad, these thoughts are stuck in my head. So with years, I could handle myself with meditations, because I know that I can distract very easily. So in order to keep, even in my intimate life, I actually saw the difference after meditation, because I learned how can I concentrate on the present moment without going somewhere. And I think that helped me a lot, and I couldn't feel the pleasure with men. I think I've been in couple for my first relationship for 5 years, and I think that actually after we broke up and I started to do meditation, it was the first moment I could actually feel the pleasure and concentrate on myself and on the process, without thinking about anything else. So I think for me, what worked also, one of the instruments was meditation.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, totally. All the consciousness and like self-awareness tools, that's like number one on the list. Well, number two after masturbation and exploring yourself and getting to know your body. So yeah, that's definitely true, because as I said earlier, it's a matter of connecting with your body. And sometimes it might be difficult to do because of the post-traumatic experiences, or having difficulties to understand your emotions and sensations that you have in your body. So of course, pleasure lives in the body. It's the sensation that we experience in the body, and you need to wake up your body in order to have access to it. And it's also some sort of a skill to check in with your body and see, how do I feel? Do I sit comfortable right now? Do I want to have a glass of water? To take care of your body every moment of throughout the day. So that takes you to the present moment. And of course, pleasure is also lives in the present moment. It's not in the future or in the past. And very often the anxiety makes us travel either to the future, where we worry about something that didn't happen yet, or it makes us also think about the past and like go over and over those thoughts, anxious thoughts. And we're not in the bed with this person at that moment. We're somewhere else. We're traveling, but you should stay in the present moment, and you should stay in your body and concentrate on those sensations. So that is also like one of the techniques that we recommend to the people who we're working with. It's the sensitivity to develop the sensitivity level of your body and get in touch with your body. There is a little exercise that helps to develop this skill. It's just asking you throughout the day 3 simple questions. You can even set an alarm, for example, if you can easily forget about yourself, if you have this tendency. Set an alarm, let's say 5 times per day, just asking you, stop what you're doing and asking yourself a question. What am I doing right now? What do I feel right now? Like what feeling or emotion? And what are the sensations in my body right now? Just that. It takes 1 minute. You can write it down, or just to, realize for yourself, and then move on with your life. But that will help you to develop the skill of checking in and coming back home, to see what is happening there. It's really important. And meditation is also along those lines.
It's true. It's true that this question of what are you feeling right now, I'm asking it often during my dance classes, actually, because in dance is also, you will not dance with the same energy if you're angry or you're happy. So it's true that often in the end of my heels classes, especially, I'm asking this question to girls, like, try to understand what you're feeling right now. And it's difficult sometimes for them to answer, because we are not conscious of our feelings, and we don't listen to ourselves, I think, for actually very often.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As you were saying earlier, we don't really have this school, like the emotional school when we're growing up. Like our parents, well, of course it depends, but like our generation, I would say, feelings and emotions, they're kind of like disregarded, like, oh, that's okay, like moving on. Parents were not really explaining us because they didn't know themselves, and it wasn't really a trend, so to speak. But now, yeah, there is a long charts of different emotional states and feelings. And for some people who are having difficulties finding the right word for the emotion and understanding the emotions, that can be also helpful to find this chart with different feelings and just trying to figure out like what is that or what that could be. It's like learning also, it's the emotional intellect. So it's like learning and getting to know yourself better. Emotions, it's a huge part of the again, happiness and feeling better, because happiness basically it's the sensation. So it's hormones You know, it's the state of your body, of your being. So you have to get in touch with your body in order to feel that and appreciate that.
And you were talking about sexual context. What do you mean
Mm-hmm.
by sexual context?
Yeah, so those systems that I was telling you about, the excitation and inhibition, those are innate characteristics. They are very individual, and it depends on the sensitivity of your nervous system and your like experiences. But that cannot be really changed, cannot be really adjusted, because that's the way you are, and you just have to know it about yourself and accept it. And once again, knowing where to add up and where to
Reduce.
reduce, yes, you can balance it out, right? So
Yes.
you can move in the right direction. But there is a second layer, and those would be the exterior factors, right? Which are different contexts. And that can be changed, that can be adjusted. Like, for example, also as an exercise, there is a test that I can also send to those people who want that suggests a bunch of different sexual contexts, and the same for unsexual contacts, that suggests you different factors that can either add up onto your desire or diminish. And that can be, as I said, everything, like a mess in the room or people around. For some people, it can be exciting. For some people, it can be a dangerous situation and the desire will shut down. So here also, I suggest you can make a list thinking of the most amazing sexual experience. You can make a list for around like 20 different factors that influence this good experience. The way your partner looked, the way he smelled, where you were, how did you feel about yourself that day, what you were wearing, you know, the mood, the thoughts running in your head, everything. Just go back into this experience and try to remember all the factors that were there, psychological, emotional, physical, that were stimulating the desire and a great sex that you had. So that can be also like an exercise. And you can do the same with the opposite, thinking of the most weird and not really pleasant experience that you had. And of course, we're not really talking about traumatic experience, because this is something totally
Yeah.
apart that shouldn't be happening at all. But the experience, sexual experience that was not that successful, and also writing down around 20 factors why it was not successful. You know, what was missing, or what was too much, or what was distracting you. Like this, you'll breaking down and you'll see what are the factors that are actually helping you to get excited and experience pleasure, and the factors that are taking away from your pleasure. And once again, I can send those tests at the end of this webinar if for those people who wants to do that.
Sure.
But you can do it individually, as I said, but just remembering the situations where you experience the most of pleasure and the least.
And maybe we can think a bit, because many messages I received were also about blocks, blocks of people, because many girls wrote me that the biggest problem, I think, it's kind of psychological problems they have, and that they have a lot of blocks in their head. When I did when I asked a questionnaire, most of the people, they told like, my sexual life is okay, but I have so many blocks. And most of the people, not like, I think it was like 80% of people who told me that they have blocks, against
Yeah.
of, let's say, I don't know, like 40% of people who said that they were satisfied with their sexual life. So maybe let's talk about some blocks in women's behavior, because I think one of the pattern is like being a good girl, I guess. One that we have. Another one, it may be, which is huge, that we're not satisfied with our bodies. Also, maybe you can give us a little advice, or maybe explain to the women that it's not actually so important how we look, and how maybe can we reduce our thoughts of that I have to be a good girl, that I cannot do that, I cannot do this. What would you advise to women?
Yeah, those are two different directions, I would say. The body image, I would say here we're talking about the self-acceptance. what we said in the beginning, it's a big one. Just to feel good about yourself in general, not only in bed, but just in life. Of course, you have to practice self-acceptance the way you are. Once again, big or small, tall or not tall, having orgasm or not having orgasm, the way you are. And kind of like to appreciate your individuality. But it's, of course, usually it's a process, and it might take also a therapy, because mm, it might go down deep into subconscious, you know, those beliefs that were absorbed throughout the childhood. They might be really deep down, because very often, like consciously, we want one thing for ourselves, but we can't get it, because subconsciously we have the opposite perception of things, you know. So if in your subconscious sex equals something dirty or something shameful, but in your conscious you say like, oh, I want to be a sexy woman, but you can't go this way, because subconscious is so much more powerful, and it will rule, it will control you. And that is not an easy task, because first you need to understand what is hiding there, and it's really dark. So that can take a therapy, that can take some time to explore what is really hiding there. But once again, it's a dual process. We either go towards the desired goal, desired object, or we're going away from the fear or pain. And usually in our conscious, we know what we want and we're trying to go there. But in subconscious, there is all this avoidance mechanism, avoiding pain and fear. So it's a work, it's a cognitive work, I would say, to maybe like put it down on the paper once again. For example, what is sex to you, if we're talking about being a good girl? Because I'm sure that it impacts the whole life, not just the sex life.
Yeah.
It's just trying to be convenient and not really expressing yourself, not really showing up, you know, because you're afraid to be uncomfortable for others. It's a really common issue, actually, in the work that I'm doing with my clients as well. And of course, it affects the sex life. So maybe here you can put down on the list those limiting beliefs that you might be having about sex, about you, like being a woman. What is that, being a woman? But it demands an exploration where it's coming from, because it's not going to change like this. If I'll say, no, you actually, you're fine, it's not going to do anything. It's that person that should find like why he chose this strategy, because at some point of life, that was useful and that was helping this person to survive. That is why everything we have today, it's there for a reason, and it's our experience. At some point, it was helping us to survive all those strategies, all those thoughts. But now we're not really needing them anymore. And of course, it's good to do some sort of update with the beliefs, and come up with your own perceptions and ideas. So that's working with beliefs, I would say, and breaking down your personal perception of things and yourself. And also the psychological separation from parents, you know, from the internal parents in our head, because once again, those ideas, they are absorbed and they're not really ours. And another big direction of therapy work, it's to separate from your internal parents and to become who you really are, to manifest your own opinions, your own desires. But to do that, you need to understand them first and find them first. So basically, to be psychologically independent from all those ideas that you have in your head, and grow psychologically speaking. And for that, once again, you look inside yourself and you understand and explore your desires, your wishes, your dreams, your sensations, your body, and all that. And you own that. And then you can lean on it. And then you can decide for yourself, what do you need and what you don't need, and choose a new strategy, you know, which will
Yes,
be appropriate.
yes, For sure, I think that parents' separation, especially for women, I think from both mom and dad, but I think it's a big problem that women and people in general, they face, not only, of course, in sexual life, also in relationships. It can be
Mm.
also, I think, in career a lot. Like so many people, they live unhappy life with their
Absolutely.
career just because their parents, what they wanted to make happy their parents. And
Hmm.
for me, it happened to me too, because I mean, not until a certain moment, but my father was against me doing dance. He didn't
Hmm.
see, and he maybe still doesn't see it as a profession, but it's important. It was very important for me and very painful at first time to say, like, this is your point of view. I love you, I respect you, but I'm not this little girl anymore. I can do whatever I want, and I'm in charge of my life. And I think this, as soon as you say to yourself that I am in charge of my life, I am in charge of my thoughts, I'm in charge of my body, I can make it look better, I can make myself feel better about my body. I think as soon as we take this responsibility for ourselves, for our body, and for our actions, which is actually hard work for many people, I
Hmm.
think, because we have this pattern, especially women, I think. I have to be a good
Hmm.
girl, I have to please my parents, otherwise I'm not going to be a
Hmm.
good person. So I think it
Hmm.
affects a lot also our sexual life too, for sure.
Absolutely, and there is a direct connection with what we were talking about earlier about like experiencing orgasm not for yourself but for your man
Yeah,
to
of course.
orgasm because it will please him. So it's also like being a good girl,
Yeah,
but in bed, in the sense that like pleasing someone and not really thinking what do you want at this point of time and what do you need. So yeah, absolutely. It's the global pattern, and then it affects all areas of life, sexual, of
and
course, as
and I
well.
guess at least once every woman faked orgasm in their life, for sure. Just because they thought it has to be this way.
Yeah, sometimes
At
it's
least
just
once.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, once again, faking it means not being yourself. So it's kind of like cheating, but cheating uh, yourself actually. And after that, you don't really feel good about it because when you do not accordingly to your values, to who you truly are, then you feel this little aftertaste of not being satisfied because you did something not accordingly to your internal need. So it also kind of will just only add up into this not really being satisfied with yourself. But when you act according to your values, according to your needs, you're being honest, you're being open, then you feel good about yourself, and it also reinforces the sense of self, the self-confidence, and being able to express yourself. So like this, you're growing by being honest with yourself, first of all, and then finding the ways to express yourself and being honest with other people.
And I think so. Oh, maybe you correct me, but I think when we're in couple, it's also incredibly important to talk about this kind of blocks we might have with our partner. But I think, especially in our Sovietic, post-Sovietic countries, and I guess also maybe in countries with, like also with Muslim culture, where a woman is
Mm-hmm.
not in so much value, it's not, she's not free to express her sexuality. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
also very, very difficult to talk with a man about this kind of things. But I think
Absolutely.
it's really, you have to find a way how to start this conversation, or maybe take a psychologist, like a couple therapy, in order to really explore it, and not to close yourself in its problem.
Absolutely. This is like one of the major parts of therapy, communication, because what they say, sex is communication. It's interaction and it is communication. So whatever problems you experience in your sex life, uh, there should be something like this happening between in your dynamics, in your relationships. So it's always a question of communication. That is so true. And unfortunately, in most cases, we don't really have this knowledge and skill, as I was telling earlier, to express yourself, because for this you have to clearly know what do you need and what do you want, like your own needs. So it's a deep self-exploration work. And then when you know it and when it's clear for you, then you learn the ways to express it, and express it not in the aggressive way to your partner, not imposing anything, but being genuine and therefore being vulnerable. And it's difficult, right? So it takes also lots of courage to open up, you know. And for this, of course, you need to have the safe environment in your relationship, because if it's a dangerous environment, maybe there is no need to get undressed and
Yeah.
to open up, because you're going to get hurt. So yeah, it's a process, but it's the key, because yeah, good sex, it meaning good communication.
And also, I think
It's the key.
if we come back to, for example, orgasm
Mm-hmm.
and to understanding how we function ourselves, maybe we can talk also about women masturbation, because I think it's such a close subject that so many women don't do it. They don't know how what
Mm-hmm.
they like in their bodies, and maybe you could talk about like encourage women to discover
To masturbate.
themselves. Exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because yeah, I've been talking a lot about the self-exploration, meaning like the psychology needs and all those beliefs. But this is internal exploration. But the physical exploration, it's a must, because as I said, it's a complex of mind and body and emotions. That's who we are. So of course we need to know our body. That's number one. Actually, in the list of like treatments or suggestions or recommendations, masturbation would be number one, because it's really exploring yourself, looking at yourself, like taking a mirror and going into the bathroom and actually looking at your genitals. How many women have ever done that actually?
I don't think
Um,
many.
to Exactly, exactly. But they should to get to know themselves better, to explore, to look at your body, like get naked and go in front of the mirror and just explore and accept. And then the same with the exploration, like with some toys, or just seeing what are your erogen zones, what are the zones that are more sensitive, you know, what are the zones that you wouldn't touch. Like this, having this information about yourself, you'll be able to share it and to inform your partner. And like this, you'll be able to achieve more pleasure. And the communication would be more fluid, because you will be not in the dark. You would know that about yourself, and you'll be able to share it with your partner. This is priceless. This is really great.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, before you talked about the connection with the partner, actually, it's the part
Mm-hmm.
where I'm always saying the first class of couple classes like bachata, we always
Mm-hmm.
talk about connection. You can do, and I think it's a good parallel, you know, with it, because when you talk about dance, it's like you can have the best ever dance partner in front of you. If you don't have a connection, you're not going to feel anything. But to have a connection, you have to first try things. You have to look to each other in the eyes. You have to find, okay, what pressure I should give, what not. And that will create a connection instead of just doing steps. So I think in
Mm-hmm.
sex, it's the same. Like, if you don't have this connection and partner can have all ingredients you want, he can be perfect physically and mentally, whatever, and but just if you don't explore together, and if you
Mm-hmm.
don't look for this connection in sex by talking, by first exploring yourself, then you cannot create this connection. And I think this is something that all couples should explore, to find this connection by talking, by helping each other, to encourage for this exploration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As I said, yeah, it's physical, mental, and emotional. There are like three major ingredients, like for having orgasm, or just to enjoy sex and enjoy your life in general. And this emotional component is very important. And here, I guess the best bet is, once again, to let yourself be vulnerable, because this vulnerability, it's the glue that put people together, you know, because when we open up and we get really intimate, like we trust in some secrets or discoveries, that is what becomes like our, and that what connects people. But sometimes, yeah, we are defensive or we're afraid, so we won't open up. And of course, then the connection cannot happen. So first, I guess you start with yourself. You just relax, and just give yourself this opening that the other person can see and can feed from it. And like this, you might create this connection. But yeah, it's about the trust and creating the safe space and then exploring together when it's safe. Yeah,
And
that's
can you
priceless.
still answer to our question physically?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the myth or is it reality that not every woman can has an orgasm physically?
Yeah, yeah, actually, statistically speaking, 10% of the women, 10 to 15, indeed, they never experience orgasm. And the list of reasons can be very long, and it can be some medical conditions like, hypertension, chronic pain, diabetes, or like problems with the thyroid, or some sort of disease that affect nerves, anxiety, depression, sleep problems, lifestyle. The list is long. And of course, it can be also some psychological, what we discussed earlier, some beliefs, some cultural aspect, some environment, gender roles. It also, as I said, the traumatic experience, that's also a big one, unfortunately, here.
Yeah.
So the list is long, but it's true. And once again, some people run fast, some people run slow. We all different, and it's also okay that that's the way it is. But then if it bothers you that you can experience orgasm, then of course you should probably go and do something about it. You should take care of yourself. If it's not satisfying you and you feel not good about it, then of course it's better to go see a specialist, and to see both actually, because we always work together with the medical aspect, like the body. You need to run some tests, blood, hormones, do the checkup with gynecologist to see if everything is in order. And then if everything is in order there, you go to a specialist, and you see the psychological side of it, to remove all those blocks that we were talking about. Because there might be, it can happen that if your body functions properly and from the medical standpoint everything is okay, maybe the reason why you didn't experience orgasm throughout your whole life is that you didn't give yourself enough time, or that you had those beliefs in your head.
Yeah.
And maybe by removing that, you can learn to experience pleasure, because it's a skill. It's also a skill to experience pleasure, and not just in sex, in everything you do, in communication, when you eat, when you walk, when you read. Just enjoy life and experience this pleasure. It's totally a skill.
And
So yeah,
it's a
it's true.
yeah,
It's true, but it can be
can be
also
work.
explored and corrected.
And I also think, as for me, to come back to my subject of dance and yoga, I
Mm-hmm.
think for me it was a huge, huge help to work on my body. So I like sports and find the things you like a lot. And also I think that like feminine dances like heels, bachata, reggaeton, it's actually open up a lot your hips. And I think when we open up our hips physically, it's not only about positions or whatever. Somehow it also affects like our brain and confidence. And I think also the self-confidence, which is huge, like a huge point in sex, that's very, very important. And as for me, what helped me initially, it was, as I told you before, meditation, dance, like sexy dances, like heels. When I dance heels, is kind of fake it until you make it. I often say to my students, first you walk and you don't believe in yourself, you don't feel feminine, you don't feel sexy, you don't feel desirable. But as a first place, you try to do it in a fake way. I mean, just to do it, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then more you do it, more you walk like on heels like a queen, more you wear, more, I always say to girls, like wear something nice during the classes, because more you have to like force yourself, feel feminine, feel attractive, feel this desire inside of you with yourself first. Because when we dance, you have so many emotions and feelings, and you explore your body at the same time. So some kind of, for me, it helped a lot to find this confidence through the dance. Because as I explained before, like because of the not, like I didn't love my body before, I had anorexia and bulimia, and it always kind of stuck in my head while intimacy with the partner, because I was thinking like, okay, if I turn this way, do I look good enough? Or maybe he doesn't see me in a good shape. Maybe he doesn't want me. Maybe I'm not good enough. But as soon as I started to also explore my body in sports, in yoga, in dance, to feel in stretching also plays a big role. I felt so much more confident in intimate life, and I also think it helped me in many couple relationships. And for me, like, dance was, I think, the key to self-exploration and self-confidence. That I think self-confidence is a huge link with also our sexual life.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, body, it's a huge source of everything. And of course, if there is if the self-esteem is unstable and shaky, most likely you'll be searching for those proofs, because it's all what we believe in. If you have like lack of something, you know, or you think something of yourself that is not really complementary, then of course you're going to be searching it as a proof in other people and in bed, especially because you're so vulnerable. You have no clothing, so it's a dangerous spot. So of course you're going to be searching, and you're going to be finding actually those proofs that will say, aha, yes, of course, like he didn't text me because yeah, he saw this pimple on my back. No, of course, if you believe the opposite, then you're going to be searching and finding the opposite. If you will accept your body, and if you will like your body the way it is, then you're going to be translating it to other people as well. And you're just going to be enjoying just being, just being. So of course, yeah, it's very important. And through dance, of course, you can make the blood keep running, and that's awakening. That's really awakening, to turn on your body. And as you say, it's really important also in this therapeutical work to imagine the way you want to be, right? And then try to be it, little by little. Try to walk this way, like having this ideal, well, I don't like the word ideal, but let's say desirable version of yourself, right? And then going into details, like what this woman would wear, how this woman would talk, how she would be walking, how she would be dancing, how she would be dressing herself. So breaking it down into details, like this image, positive body image, positive self-image, and then little by little trying to own it and try it. At some point, going to the bakery and walking like this woman, or ordering coffee with the voice of this woman, getting dressed and going to a dance class, being this woman. So little by little, because it's all, as I said, body, the happiness and our sensation, it's in the body. So if you will show your body that that's how you can feel, it's the hormonal state. Actually, we all live in the familiar hormonal cocktail, and we try to maintain it, but we can also adjust it. If this hormonal cocktail, it's familiar, but it's not really pleasant, then you can add new hormones by doing new actions and trying new things, adding up some adrenaline or oxytocin, endorphin, and you can change the cocktail actually, and then it will become your dominant. It will become your reality. But yeah, it's a work with your body. It's really important, because the body memory, it's the most strong memory, and that is why, like, all the traumatic experience, even though with our head we don't remember, but the body remembers.
Yes.
So working with your body, turning it on, let the blood flowing, trying with your body new sensations and new experiences, and connecting with it. That's a right direction.
Yeah, I also believe in energy. Like, a lot of things is in the energy. If you appreciate it yourself, and if you're like working on your body, on your sexual energy, if you're assume of walking like you want to walk, like you said, this, if you want to be this woman who is very performant in bed, or who feels good in this sexual energy, you can feel it. You can feel as soon as I started to dance like this kind of sexy dances, and that put myself into confidence. like directly I started to see men's look on me, or just feeling that people are not only men but people are attracted more, not because of my physical aspects, just because you actually you give some energy, some confidence, some sensual energy that maybe not everyone have. So actually they want to have it, so they attract to you, and some kind of this kind of people also gives you more energy. And for me, as soon as you can feel this changes of energy in yourself, then you're going to really transform. And then you can also feel all those changes in your life, in sexual life, in your career, etc. So I think
Yeah.
one little step can change everything.
Yeah.
And
And love creates
ex-
love, you know.
exactly,
So
exactly.
the more you dive into the sensations, the stronger it will get. And as I said, you can change your dominant, the way you feel most of the time. It's
And
a muscle.
maybe you can. Do you have questions that I sent to you?
I do on my phone, but you know, I actually tell me if you think it's important. I think it's really important. I wanted to talk about like dispel one myth about vaginal orgasm,
Yes, yes.
because there is, yeah, this misconception about like having orgasm, if no orgasm, no sex, as we discussed in the beginning. But at the same time, there is a lot of worry and anxiety about this vaginal orgasm that I can achieve, and it also a big source of anxiety for women. So I just wanted also to talk a little bit about that and to dispel this myth. I think it's
Let's do.
important.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say? Do you think a mature orgasm is a vaginal orgasm? Is it true or false that the mature orgasm should be a vaginal
Yeah, I think
orgasm?
it's
What do you think?
false. I think we can have whatever orgasm we can. I mean, I think just I'm not sure because I'm not an expert in it, but I think we can have. I think it's not about the maturity, no. I think it's mostly maybe I don't know. We have some people say that some women are more into vaginal orgasm and some are not. So I'm not sure we can call it mature. Maybe just everybody can reach different type of orgasm easily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, this is false because actually, in fact, there is no vaginal orgasm. It just doesn't exist because the only organ responsible for orgasmic sensations is clitoris. And this misconception, it dates back to Freud because that was his term. He said that the orgasm from clitoris, it's immature. So that is why there is this misconception. If I don't come without any additional stimulation, there is something wrong with me. No, not at all. Once again, it's all linked to your structure, to your biology. Because if you want, at that time, Freud, he didn't know how clitoris looked. He only saw the tip of the iceberg, literally speaking, because there were no studies yet showing how big the clitoris is actually. Because if you know, it goes as a V shape like this. The legs of clitoris, they go down for like 8 centimeters down, and they encircle the vagina. So basically, this is the only organ responsible for the sensations, right? But it can be stimulated from different areas. If it's close enough to your vagina, then it can be stimulated from within, and then you can experience a vaginal orgasm, but it will be still orgasm from stimulating your clitoris through vagina walls, you see? So, and it's really just the biology. It's a pure geometry, even mathematics. So if you're not experiencing vaginal orgasm, you're totally fine. In fact, 75% of women cannot reach orgasm from the intercourse alone. They need some sort of additional stimulation, and it's totally fine. So once again, knowing your biology, knowing your body can help you to avoid unnecessary anxiety and unnecessary blame on yourself or shame, you know, because if you think a lot about it, then you can start avoiding sex. If it becomes something not satisfying for you, you'll start avoiding, because as I said, we're trying to move away from something that is, you know, bringing discomfort. So here there's also a little trick that can help kind of like to understand whether your clitoris is going deep down or it's on the surface, whether you can have a vaginal orgasm or not. It's called thumb rule. Thumb rule. So you can also try that if you want, but they say you can measure the distance between the tip of your clitoris and the entrance to the vagina. And if the distance is more than, like that big, so like 2.5 centimeters, if it's more than that, then there is less likely that you can experience orgasm from penetration only, because it means that your clitoris is high enough and the legs are not that present in they're not that close to the vaginal walls. But if it's the distance is
How can we
smaller,
measure it?
you just go and measure. You go in the bathroom, you take the mirror, as I said earlier, and then you measure the distance between the tip of your clitoris and the entrance to your vagina. You can use your finger. So if it's that big or a little bit bigger, then there is a more chance that the sensitive nerves, they are closer to the vaginal walls, and then from the stimulation alone, you might experience the orgasm. But if the distance is longer, then there is less chance. But once again, it's not a concrete science. It's just, once again, as I said, it's geometry of your body. And it's all about those nerve endings that are closer to your vaginal walls or not. So, but this little trick can help you to understand.
Girls after. Go to the bathroom.
Everyone to the bathroom. Yes, yeah, but it's really handy actually, because like this, instead of like going crazy and like trying to achieve this vaginal orgasm that doesn't exist, you can just relax, and knowing your body, you can again experience with sex toys or with your partner, you can experience those sensitive areas, those G spots that also don't really exist, because there is no one specific spot that is will be the sensitive spot for every woman. It will be also very subjective. We have G spots in different places of our vagina, and it's very individual. So exploring is the key, finding your spot, your G spot, where you're most sensitive, and then putting more pressure, putting more stimulation into that spot.
So we have actually several G spots. So it's a myth that we only have one.
G spot is actually, it's the most sensitive part or parts, because maybe if you noticed, like through different positions, you have different sensations, right? Some positions you don't feel that much, but some positions you feel that there is it's more sensitive. So those would be the sensitive areas, and it's great knowing those sensitive areas. And it's not just one. Yeah, it can be few. And once again, it will depend on your body structure, on your physiology. And exploring is the key here, with toys or with your partner, knowing those spots for you. And just forget about this vaginal orgasm, don't stress about it, and just, it's all through clitoris, so just help yourself, so to speak, and just take the most pleasure out of it, knowing your body and knowing what you need to gain the most pleasure.
So I think just to because we don't have so much time left, so just to summarize what we said during our life is that first, girls, you have to feel good with yourself, super important, and that's of course meditation can work. You have to, in order to feel good and be in the moment, you can do meditations, try to do different practices to feel good with yourself. Of course, self-exploration, right? Self-explore yourself, find your pleasure points. Then also we can send you the test to know what are the factors that can excite you more or less. I think it's a really, really good test that I actually didn't do, so I would like to do too. So like that, I will do, and I will share with you too. What can I produce in order to feel more excited with a connection with a partner? We also talked about connection, right? That you have to really find the way how to talk to your partner. And maybe if your partner doesn't want at all to talk about sex or any issues in your sexual life, maybe change your partner. So try to find a way how can you actually feel, because you said something very important, that we have to feel that we can be completely vulnerable with our partner. Because it's true that in sex we give our body, I always say that in sex for me is like, it still gives a part of your soul. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, we can have different vision on it, but you still give a lot. So if with your partner you cannot feel like you can actually share something you don't like, it's a big issue, I think. And it's, for me, like a marriage, I'm not married, but still for me, the marriage where you cannot talk about this kind of things. And I think, I don't know statistic, but I think 50% of couple don't talk about it seriously. I
If
think it
not
can
more.
actually, or maybe more, yes. I think it can actually destroy marriage, and that's how it provoke after cheating and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think it's, and also, yes, very interesting part what you've told, that just don't panic so much about orgasm. Go measure your clitoris, try to stop thinking about it too much, and just enjoy moments and explore yourself. And
Yeah.
thank you, Anna. I think we will also ask for people who will watch our live later, because it's still early Saturday morning for you. For me, it's almost 6 o'clock. So try, maybe you can write us in comments questions for those who are gonna watch this live after. So write us questions that you have, and actually Anna will be the speaker in our online course, which we're launching on the 1st of June. So Anna, maybe you can tell, like, I will shortly explain little details about our online course. So it's going to be online transformation course, because as I told you before, for a long time I've been thinking to create a course for women, because for me, dance, yoga, sport, fitness, like meditation, it's not about our body only. It's not about dancing. It's not about stretching. It's about lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, and this, I think, in order to really feel good with ourselves, as you said before, it's important to feel good in our body, but also in our mind, because we women, we have so many physical and mental blocks that we need always help to reduce them, or to work with someone who can motivate us to see ourselves differently. So in our course, we're going to have every week, it's going to last for one month, and we're going to have classes every week, 6 classes of yoga, fitness, meditation, dance as heels, reggaeton, and bachata Latin style. So every week you're going to receive 6 classes that you can do whenever you want, however you want, at the time that suits you the best. And also every week we're going to have one live with Anya. One is going to be about sexology. Maybe you can tell us what we're going to talk about in our course, what support you can give to girls during the course.
Mm-hmm. Well, that I think the best way would be actually maybe to lean on the questions that would be there, and maybe play along, to interact more, communication, right? As we said earlier, to actually maybe asking questions, what is more important to discuss? Because as we discussed with you earlier, of course, we're going to talk about the body, knowing your body, like how to explore, how to gain more pleasure, how to accept yourself, how to feel good in your body, like psychologically speaking. But then for the specific themes, we probably can even ask the
Yeah, of
girls
course.
what would be the most important to at this stage of the course,
Also,
what would
because we're
support
gonna
them more.
we're gonna have Telegram channel where we can communicate, and also every girl can ask questions before our webinar and after too during the course. And also it's Anna who's gonna be a psychologist on our course, and we're gonna talk also with me about nutrition, about how blocks, because I passed through bulimia and anorexia, and I could live it myself. I could actually heal myself, and I think it's with a psychologist we're going to talk a lot also about how do we see ourselves, how people see us, and in order to get confidence in ourselves, because I think that psychology is necessary to actually start loving ourselves. So we're going to talk about it during our course. And also about nutrition, we're going to talk how can you stop forcing yourself not to eat, diets, and all the stress, all these horrible things that actually can actually sometimes lead girls to death. When I was a teenager, one of my friends, she was actually in a hospital with anorexia, and still now I know some of my students, they still have bulimia, a lot of eating behavior disorders that we cannot just up and tell ourselves that I'm still looking pretty, everything's going to be fine. It's really, really big, huge psychological work together in a combination with our body. Because I'm not someone who will say body positive, do whatever you want with your body. I think it's a lot about our health, right? So for me, it's just everybody should do sports, meditation, yoga, or dance. Just every person has to choose what they really like. So that's why we decided in our course unite different activities in order to help everyone to feel good with themselves, and also to actually have the support of experts that can help girls psychologically feel better and transform from inside and out. So for those who are going to watch the webinar live later, also don't be afraid to write us questions in direct, to write to Anna, to write to me. During the course, you're going to have the support in a channel. You're going to do some homework, and also with our atomic package, you're also going to have my mentoring, personal mentoring, where you can ask me every question you want, where I'm going to actually motivate you every day to do something, because I think what actually the most difficult part for everyone to feel good with their bodies and minds is people are lazy. People are naturally lazy, and sometimes we just need to install this discipline, which is hard, because every habit we start is difficult. But as soon as you have someone who can actually help you to give this motivation to do things, everything can change. So that's why in our course we decided to create this package with my personal mentoring. That's gonna, I'm sure, gonna help. We only will accept 10 people, but I think it's really, really helpful, because we need someone to push us to do things. We need a trainer, we need a psychologist. Maybe like the role of psychologist, Anna, tell me if I'm right, is not to give you the answers. It's just to push you to find your own answer, right? That maybe
And
you
to
know,
ask the right
and the right,
questions.
yeah, ask the right question. Yes. So Anna, maybe you have something else to say?
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. No, and I think what you say, it's indeed, it's important to have this support, like the welcoming, kind internal parent that would be there cheering for you and helping you out and trying to, like, not to impose something on you, but reinforce who you really are, and like taking the small grain and just nourishing it and feeding it and making it into something big and solid and confident. So looking forward to it. I see that there are all the elements that we talked about in this course, like mental, emotional, physical, and it's great to work together, because yeah, we are complex creatures, and every side should be addressed in the transformation.
And basically, I will just talk quickly about the different packages. So first package is you're only gonna have all the classes. So you're gonna have 4 classes of yoga, 4 classes of meditation, 4 classes of fitness, heels, reggaeton, and bachata. So this is just our first package, which is 150 euros. And you will have the access to all the classes during 3 months. So actually it's very good, because you can do exercise whenever you want. You have time to maybe repeat the course one more time. And but you will not have lives. You will not have the webinar with psychologists and sexologists and nutritionists. But you will have a channel, Telegram channel, where we can talk together with other girls, with experts about your issues. So you will always have a support, but you will not have the webinar and my mentoring. Then we have another package, which is 250 euros, where you then have a webinar with psychologist, nutritionist, sexologist, and also will have a live with me just to talk about how I achieved what I achieved today and how I handled to change my profession, because I was doing completely opposite things before, and how I managed to be happy in what I'm doing, because artistic careers are not so easy to handle with, and many of my dancers friends, they just do other works just to keep on dancing. So we will also talk about the success and our blocks, that actually our society blocks that stop us from achieving our goals and dreams. So I think this is super important. And then we will have a last package, which is 450 euros, which is like private management with me. So for whole months, for whole June, I'm gonna be with you every day. You can write me, you can call me. We will have calls with every person, and I will help you to find how can you achieve your goals, how you can win more money, how can you find the happiness and harmony with your body, and what are the tools that can actually help you to change yourself, to transform completely. Because as I told you before, for me it's a combination of things that can change your life. And whatever you're feeling right now, if you are in the moment of your life where you feel maybe not satisfied with your work, not satisfied with your relationship, I will help you to go through it and to change yourself. And actually, my favorite book is in French, it's Rompre avec soi-même. So it's like break your past habits, of Joe Dispenza, which is like an incredible writer and an incredible doctor and person. And for me, it helped me to break my old habits from my past and start a new life. So during our online course of transformation, I will also help you to use some my skills that help me to break my old habits in relationships, in my career, in my money management, etc. That help me to go to new level. So this course is about transforming, because this is of course we need a lot of time to feel a lot of changes, but also if we have a person of people who will mentor us, who will help us to achieve something new, I'm sure that we can have changes very fast. And also our body, the most important in sports, in all physical activities, and in order to look good in your body, you just need to be regular. So this month can be a stimulation. It's like with all bad habits too. You need, let's say, 15 to 30 days to stop smoking, or you need to 15 to 30 days to start a new habit. It's the same. It works the same way. So during this 1 month, we will help you and motivate you to create this constant habit, and then to just keep on having this good nutrition, healthy lifestyle, sport, yoga, dance, maybe find your own sport which will make you feel good in your body, and also a certain mental work that will help you to change your mindset, because our thoughts, it's our life. Everything we think can be the truth, can be the present moment. So this is about our online course, and until tomorrow evening, actually, you have 15% of discount with a special promo code welcome15. If you forget, you can write me direct. I can say it again. So actually, it's a third online course that I'm launching. Before I've done it, but it was mostly about fitness, yoga, and dance. But it's my first course that I decided to really install inside also psychology and sexology, because I think this is a key to everything, to successful relationship, to successful life, to money, to just harmony in all areas of your life. So guys, if you have any feedbacks, we would be really happy with Anna to know about it. It would be really a pleasure to read your questions if you have any. And maybe if you like it, just write us a feedback, and maybe also ask me other experts you would like to, with whom you would like to do lives. Maybe I can install it like a I don't know, one every month I can do live with different experts. Or maybe if you want us with Anna to do another live about other subject, we can repeat it too. Okay, so thank you, Anna, so much. It was really, really
Avec plaisir.
Yes.
Oh, it was so great
And
to see you.
yes, last information is that the course is going to be in 3 languages, so Russian, English, and French. And I'm so happy that I found Anna, because there are no many experts who talk the same languages, like all of them easily, because it was really difficult to find someone like you. So I'm really, really glad that Instagram brought us together, and
Yes.
that you can help people also in different languages. I think it's a huge strength that we should use as much as we can.
Yeah, reaching out as many people as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and I'm really excited because, as I said, I think you're doing, it's a great idea, and I think it's really important. And I'm there to help out women to grow, to blossom, to feel good about themselves. It's wonderful. So I'm there.
Okay, thank you so much, Anna, and thank you everybody who was with us or who will watch our live later. And yeah, soon, few weeks left, and we're gonna start our course. Спасибо, дорогая. До
С
встречи.
удовольствием. See you soon.
We'll show you some
Bye.
Bali. I still have few days left here.
Oh, nice.
So
Enjoy.
yes, tomorrow we're going to other islands, so we'll share with you as much.
Nice. Jealous.
Next time after the course, we're gonna go again.
Yes, yes. It's gray in Paris. Quite funny.
Oh, well, bye bye. Thank you. And
Bye. Have a great weekend.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.